Ladies and gentlemen, this is the golden god of professional wrestling, your atomic legacy wrestling general manager, the Golden Girls' favorite, the midget killing, Scott Steiner head chain wearing, Jerry Swirlz, and I'm here drinking at Moe's. Mo, how you doing, buddy?
All right, everybody. Want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin at Moe's be a brand ambassador. They encourage everybody to break out of that comfort zone, live their best self, which, hey, that's what got me starting the podcast. But they got great clothing, great apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, hats, all that good stuff. Be sure, link will be in the description, and use the code Drinkin at Moe's to get 10% off your order. Let's fucking go.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinkin at Moe's. Big Mo here. As always, YouTube, all the good stuff. Like, subscribe, comment. Helps with that pain in the ass algorithm they got over there. Where most places you can find your audio podcast. Today, I'm excited to have with me Jerry Swirlz. We've been talking a little bit about some stuff before we started recording. We'll get into that a little bit. But first thing I'd like to start off with everybody, especially, well, mostly first-timers, because I've already asked the question for repeaters. But what got you started as a fan? And then what got you started deciding to make the leap into the business?
What got me started as a fan, I think my father used to watch a lot of wrestling back in the day. Like, he watched Dusty Rhodes, he watched Dick Murdoch, Ric Flair, a lot of the old Southern wrestling hospitality. I got more into like the Ruthless Aggression era. So it was like late 2004, early 2005. Kind of around that era, a little bit late, little 2003 sprinkled in there as well. I grew up around watching guys like Matt Hardy, Rey Mysterio, John Cena when he was doing the Word Life thing, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Christian, Edge. I could go on. Anybody you give me a name from the Ruthless Aggression era, I can guarantee you I pretty much know them by heart. I know exactly how long they were in the company for, and I damn sure know how long they've had longevity in the business. So
nice. I've been lucky enough to meet two out of those guys that you've mentioned there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Jericho and Edge. Met them both.
Jericho, I've actually encountered him at Disney one time. I mean, I know he was with his wife and stuff. I didn't want to bother him, obviously. Edge, though, that's really cool. Like, that's someone who's been on my bucket list. I know his time's winding down right now, and like it's kind of a bittersweet, moment. Like, it sucked what happened to him. Ironically, the same thing that kind of happened to me with my injury, which we'll talk about later on in this podcast. But like, when Edge had to retire, and then because of his neck, 13 years later, he was able to come back and like just do what he loved no matter what. And that still motivates me to this day, especially like, even though I can kind of tell like it's almost time. Like it's kind of bittersweet, it's like I kind of enjoyed this, but you kind of want to have like a Edge and Christian reunion. You kind of want to see like that feel good story for Edge, but at least he gets that go on his own terms in Toronto. So I can't knock the man for having that. So
most definitely. And with Edge, the way that when he came back, when like he was starting this run that he's on right now, and just that reaction when he came out during that Rumble, oh my God, like it's enough to get anybody choked up a little bit.
I get goosebumps just talking about it, honestly. Like, I still to this day, like, that's like a feel good return for me. Like, Edge, actually, I inspire a lot of my character with Edge a little bit, kind of like the 2007 when he was like doing the rated R, when he was rated R super, the rated R superstar, but pushing that envelope, doing things that not many people were really doing, like getting that creative freedom. Like I try to do that with me, but we'll discuss that later because I want you to ask all the questions, sir. I don't want to overstep. Yeah, I don't want to overtake you. I tend to do this in not only do I do this in podcasts, which I want to apologize to everybody. Not only that, but sometimes every time, if you look back at my older podcast interviews, my hair for some reason is always in a weird way. Like I don't know. Like right now, like. Oh, well, I mean, come on now. I mean, you probably got a nice wife that actually adores that handsome bald head of yours, sir.
She loves playing with the beard, so I mean it's all good.
There you go. And that's all that matters.
And before we get on to the next thing, I had a similar run-in with a certain superstar that you did with, I believe what you said, Jericho at Disney World. Yeah. I was actually getting on my way out of there. I dropped some, so I went to pick it up. And as I'm coming up, like just a couple feet from my face, I see that T-Rex tattoo on the arm.
Yep.
Kevin Owens, literally
a
couple feet in front of me. And same thing. It looked like he was with his family, so I didn't want to bother him. But I literally ran up to my wife and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh, that's one of the things about it, man. It's like there's still a fan inside all of us, and some of us, once we cross that barricade, it's then that time to really turn up a notch, and we still love it at heart at the end of the day, no matter why we're in this business. Which I believe
you wouldn't be in it if you didn't love it. And then you talk about jumping over the barricade.
Segue.
What got you decided to make the leap into the business?
Well, this is always a good one that I don't get too often. What made me get in the business? So obviously, Atomic Legacy Wrestling. I'm the general manager for the wrestling company. I've wrestled there for 5 years, but it was actually there when I got my start. I went there as a fan, and I was on the verge, and at the time, about to graduate high school. I still didn't know what I was going to do with my life. At that point, I kind of was like deciding between being a chef, try the military school, maybe stuff like that. But there was still this part of me that just kind of was just trying to fill these gaps that I just wanted to do stuff to have fun, in life. Yeah. And I was enamored with pro wrestling. I loved it. I watched it every night, Mondays and Fridays, whenever it came on. Impact when it was on Pop TV. In fact, I could probably talk about a whole chapter about which. So then I heard about this local show at the time, Atomic Wrestling Entertainment, and they were in town. They were in Brevard, and I was like, wow, you really don't get Brevard shows too often. The times that were around 2007, 2006, there were legends like Honky Tonk Man and Cahagas, whatever. Who else was on there? Jimmy Snuka was there at a show one time. But either way, I seen on the flyer, Adam Rose was advertised. Shannon Moore was advertised at one point in time, I think. And it was some of the guys that I recognized and stuff on flyer was these are guys I don't even see often. I'll see the legend here or there, local shows. So I was like, well, why not? Let me go check it out. I went to the show. And I had a fucking blast. I remember Sue Young wrestled that night. I'm actually close friends with her to this day. I seen Adam Rose main event in a triple threat match, and he actually won their world title at that time. Who else was on that card? Gangrel was there. Gangrel, I actually got to meet him, and actually got to wrestle him too, so that was nice. How fitting for that.
All right.
But yeah, no, after that. I talked to Alex right at the time, and we just had a mini conversation. I told him, I was like, what got you started into this? What made you do this? And long story short, he told me, he wants to see a change in wrestling. He wants to grow his wrestling company, and he wants this to go somewhere where people can go and enjoy themselves in the long run. And now that I'm talking about it on this podcast, we're 5-6 years later now. It's one of the top promotions in Florida right now. And aside from that, but I went to another show, and it was right after my high school graduation. I remember there was a hardcore match, triple threat hardcore match was actually one of my opponents I wrestled. It's like everybody I'm talking about on here. It's pretty much everybody I wrestled there. And like after that show was over, I was like, maybe I should do this. Why not? What's stopping me? You know, like I'll give this a whirl. I'll give this a shot. And if I don't know, how am I gonna see if this goes anywhere? And I actually met up with someone. They told me that there was a local school in Orlando, Florida. I trained there, and pretty much the rest is history. And then eventually, after I got out of that school, I went to 2.0, trained under Alex the Puck Borteau. Got to learn from Cedric Alexander for a little bit. Got to learn from Ace Steel, who's CM Punk's trainer. And yeah, it's been up. It's been up, man.
That's awesome. And, you know, there's some sort of similarities in that story to how I kind of started the podcast, because I was thinking to myself, I've wanted to give back to wrestling in general, but especially in my area. And
of course,
I'm like, because I injured myself in the military. My back's not the greatest. So I was like, you know what? Being an active in-ring competitor might not be my area to go into. And then a friend of mine, nothing came of it because they got too busy and they were going to do something. And then I'm like, I could do something like that. And then I just started looking into what it would take. And then here we are now. I've interviewed people from all over. I've had, Billy Starks was a good one.
Oh, wow.
Alex Colon. I got invited down to Warrior Wrestling when they made a St. Louis stop, and actually got to record a shorter episode with the now going back again by Bronson Reed.
Oh shoot, that's awesome. That's freaking cool. So you got a chance to talk with him, and actually before like he was about to get picked back up by Triple H. That must have been a really cool interview.
Oh yeah, and he was going up against that night Jeff Cobb.
Oh, that's a hoss battle right there. That is a hoss battle. I've met Jeff. It's funny you say that. I actually met Jeff Cobb one time at an MLW taping right when they were first coming back. And I remember, I don't know what it was. It was like he did not like being called sir. So I guess it just made him feel older. I just have manners, and I was taught by that in the South. So every time I was running forward and back, and like I had to do so. I remember one time he was having this match with Filthy Tom Lawler.
Okay.
I remember like one of the guys they were wrestling or whatever. I had to go underneath the ring to go grab make sure the cables were, because one of the cables got loose or whatever, and the camera was going to cut their match. So I had to go underneath there and actually fix the wiring and make sure. Next thing you know, I just hear this thud like right on the ring. Listen, and I can assure you people, there's no spring under there. It's not a trampoline, okay? Yeah. So all you people that are saying that this shit's fake. Oh, I don't know if I can curse on here or not. I hope
you're good. You're good. I cussed during my little opening spiel, so you're good.
I've had to pull back a little bit on the swearing, so I'm trying to do a better job in life, guys. So just bear with me.
You're good. You're good. But yeah, no. Actually, that show, I actually, up top, you see some of my collection up here. Off to there is actually a signed Jeff Cobb figure.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about the Warrior figures, right? Is that what that is? Or
It's the Rising Stars.
Rising Stars.
Yeah.
It's like the Warriors.
I got a whole bunch. Oh boy, I got more. We'll go into that in a little bit because I mentioned some of the stuff I got going this weekend before we started recording. But one thing that I was thinking about when you mentioned, you sent me some stuff before we recorded when we were just getting things started, the conversation. You've held a couple different jobs, and you even mentioned one that you didn't mention in the messages on Facebook. But you've reffed some matches, including a high-profile one.
Yes,
a very high-profile one. which I want to kind of go into that NWA World's title match. Now, for people, I'll be dating myself a little bit. I just turned 40 last week. So NWA World's title, that I was towards the end of that era of when it was like the deal. So, and it's still very much, I remember going back to when I was stationed in San Diego, Adam Pearce was the NWA World Champion back then.
Okay.
I've got to see that belt in person. So you got to actually ref a match for that title with the big guy Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah. That was like? That was like, oh man, like this was like, all right, so this was during the Love Alive Cherry NWA joint show. So if you guys don't know, and by the way, I'll do a cheap plug for this. The Love Alive Charity has been around for almost 12 years now, and it's giving back to the community, giving back to the homeless, to those who are in the needy. And the NWA, as you know, the Pope Elijah Burke used to work for. So they did a combined joint show, and, you know, there were promos on Instagram and stuff like that being pushed for this. And it was one of the biggest shows at that time that I got to be a part of. And I was so honored and blessed to say that I got to referee with the 10 pounds of gold. And going into that, like alone, like, you know, I've already been in the business for a long enough time now, but like to referee a title match, let alone the NWA title match, you know, no pressure, right? But holding that title up alone and actually getting to show it off to everybody, it's like I held it down. I was like, for a glance at it for a moment, I looked at it and I was like, man, I've got to cherish and honor this for the rest of my life. And the match is great with Gangrel and Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch actually put me to the side afterwards, and he told me, yeah, you did a great job as a ref, man. Like, you know, just told me little things here or there. I wasn't in the way of what they were doing and stuff. I was respectful, was peaceful, make sure to go the opposite directions of them. And one-on-one thing as a referee, like to anybody that's watching this, it's like, if you're a ref in the business and you want to try and stay away from them, you still want to show that you're the authority, but like, let's say, for example, they got a spot going on or whatever, and there's a whip off and like you're in the way right there. You want to make sure like you're like all away from that, but make sure don't get caught up and things can crumble like that in a heartbeat. And also make sure your ass isn't on the hard camera too. That was another big thing that I had to get you hounded on. Make sure your ass does not show.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine. Even for the ref, there's all sorts of different things. Like you got to make sure where the hard cam is. You got to make sure you're not in the way of any of the other cameras, because I mean, I can tell you from watching TV, there's nothing worse when the excitement of a match is going and they switch cameras to kind of get a different angle and the ref's right in front of it.
Yeah. You see that on almost every indie show in today's day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm general manager of a wrestling company, guys. Come on.
I mean, I've seen some pretty bad reffing jobs. Like, oh God, one that literally jumps out in my head. And I try to keep this show positive, but of course, this story just popped into my head when we're talking about this. But you and I both know when it comes to a last man standing match, the guy gets knocked down, you start a 10 count. But if the guy gets attacked while he's down, count stopping.
Oh,
this guy kept up with the count. And like after about
so he was just 1, 2, 3 like that? Was he like? Yeah. Was he just like he was just throwing number? Oh God.
Yeah, he kept going with the count, and I'm just after about the third time of that happening, I literally just screamed, "I could do your job better than you."
Yeah, those types of matches, they're very sacred for sure. You want to milk those moments in, because that's like back and forth deal right there. You know, like. It's like there's a high and there's a low, and like that low moment needs to be that milking of like 1, 2, 3. See, I'm even in motion right now, and I'm not even wrestling. I could probably dip my toes back in if I wanted to, you know?
It's always been a dream of mine to get to even be a guest enforcer for a match. Who knows? Maybe one day. But that's beyond things. I mean, I've got to be special guest ring announcer once, so that was cool.
I'll come down to Florida, and maybe you might have a job. You never know. I'm general manager. I'm general manager of ALW. I
might need to think about that. I mean,
we'll talk more about
it. Back down there, my Navy A school was in Pensacola, so I got a reason to kind of go to different parts of Florida. So I mean, we'll see there.
We'll discuss that after the meeting's over. After this podcast is over with.
Yeah. We'll do that. Now, I want to bring up a couple of the matches that you sent me. You know, kind of doing my homework here. One, okay. The names that popped up on these videos you sent me was like, holy crap. Like, for one, the triple threat match with Shannon Moore and Dirty Dango, who is making the rounds lately. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, like he I've been a promotion pretty big up here that kind of flip-flops between Des Moines area and Ohio. Sammy Callahan's promotion, Wrestling Revolver. He's even been going in there.
Really? Interesting. Because I watch a lot of Wrestling Revolver every now and then. Like, I know
I've been
the
to a couple shows.
Yeah, I believe
I've been to a couple shows lately, and a couple, like about 6 of the figures up there, we'll go into that, were people that I met there. So
that's so freaking awesome. Yeah, I know Shark Boy, who actually on the Russell too. I know he knows a kid up in Ohio promotion, and he actually put in a good word for me to go check him out and see what's going on and stuff. So maybe one day when I'm all healed up and stuff. So you never know. But wrestling,
we'll hope there. But going back to that triple threat match, that was something like holy crap, because I mean, Shannon Moore, I haven't heard as much of lately, but I mean, a lot of people, especially my age, will remember him from, the WCW days and going into being a Magnitude follower and going into what was the thing. I'm trying to remember, pulling a brain fart, but the gimmick that he had going in TNA there for a little bit.
Oh, when he was chasing after the X Division and saying that the X Division needed to be punked, and then he got the team up with Jesse Neal and do Inking for a little bit. I remember that. I remember he came back to WWE for a little bit and actually teamed up with Jimmy Wang Yang. They were what was their team? I don't even think they had a team name. I remember like they were like the top guys to go after the tag titles at the time. So, but to elaborate a little bit back on that triple threat match. Well, originally it was a fatal 4-way with Teal, but she got taken out early, of course. So that triple threat, man, like that kind of pushed me to my limits. In my opinion, I felt that was a hallmark for me, and like most of the stuff we were doing was kind of called on the fly, actually. So, I mean, obviously we had like our spots that we called and stuff, but like that going into that was like it's basically a dream come true. Like I'm wrestling the guy that, like you said, was in 3 that did the 3 count. That was a Magnitude follower and all that stuff. Actually, fun fact, I snuck up on him because I was a big 3 count fan. I listened to the music when I was a fan, so like I seen that
kind of cute. I'm remembering the damn song now.
He had an 8x10 of him with like Shane Helms and Evan Courageous, and it was like right there. I was like, I kind of want to have this for myself. He's like. He was standing right above he was by his merch table, by the way. Like I was looking down at that. He was like, "Take it, kid." I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I can't sign it for you though, but you can keep it." I was like, "Oh, thanks, sure." Gratefully taking the memories right here. So I put that in my old merch. I put that in my old bag, and I carry that with me ever since. So that's a hallmark. But going back into that match, like there was It was a good match. It was a really, really good match. And like, because like I said, I'm wrestling the guy that was in the match, that was a Magic Follower 3 count. And I'm also wrestling the guy that wrestled Chris Jericho at WrestleMania and beat him. So, no pressure, obviously, but it was good. It was really cool. I actually got my, my mouth busted open on a trash can lid or whatever. Dango, that was my fault. I should have known better, but like my head was turned like this. And the trash can lid was like right here. Next thing you know, I just hear a leg drop and it thudded. Next thing you know, my mouth was like bleeding out of my mouth. So Shannon had to grab me and was like, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me." So, but we finished the match and it was great. It was a really, really great. It was one of my better matches I've had. So
it was a good one. And then, going big into some of these names here, another one. I mean, we talked about Shannon Moore and WCW, another guy kind of synonymous with WCW, especially in some of the later years. Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. Holy crap. Like I've heard some stories, some good and some bad. What was it like for you?
Well, do you want me to be honest with you, Mo?
Yes.
You want me to be honest with you? He was the nicest human being I ever met in my life. I'm being serious when I say that. Yeah. I actually... When he came through, this is like right after he got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, or he was about to go into it with his brother Rick, which
we won't go into that.
We won't talk about that. But no, with Scott, like he was so nice. Actually, I heard this is actually funny. Caleb Conley told me a story one time about working Steiner, and he heard stories, but he was going to Rick Steiner's gym at the time, and this is back when Steiner was like throwing people around, not giving a crap or whatever, and stuff like that. And like you see Caleb go up to him because he was gonna wrestle him that night, and Steiner was like, "Hey, you go to my brother Rick's gym?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." Okay, don't worry, we'll call some stuff. You're safe. But like, I didn't get that actually. I actually like was like, I did not get that at all. So I went up to him. I told him, "Sir, it's an honor to be around you. Hey, can you take this? Can you take that?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I can take that, no problem." And it was like, "Okay, all right, we'll see you out there. Get the mic, cut a promo, do this, that, the other." He's just giving me like the whole deal to basically do everything. So, like that's an idol of mine. That's one of I say my top 5 idols of all time. Billy Gunn's one of them. AJ Styles, Colt Cabana, CM Punk. I know it's weird putting those two together. And Scott Steiner. That was the dude that had like the TNA promo, because I'd heard of the name and I seen his stuff in WWE and I kind of was like underwhelmed with it. I think we all know why, but watching him in TNA, he could go and on the mic, like he could talk on the mic, and he had some pretty good matches for what they were. And like I was that alone, like I didn't think originally I was wrestling Rodney Mack that night. So, but Rodney Mack had to pull out due to personal reasons, of course. So my promoter told me, "Hey, we got Scott Steiner." And he basically like told me he's looking for somebody that can help him out and stuff like that. And like, I without hesitation said, "Yes, 100%. I want to do this. If I don't do this, I'm going to regret it." And I did what I needed to do for Steiner. And next thing you know, when we go to the back, the promoter came up to me and he told me, "It's like, you have no idea how happy you just made him right now. He has a smile on his face because of you." So I was like, "Hey,
that's a stamp of approval right there."
Yeah, that was really, really awesome. And like, he thanked me and everything. So he was, I've heard stories and apparently I don't know how true some of them are, but I did not get that. I actually didn't. So I was thankful. I was very thankful.
That's awesome. You always hear about, not wanting to meet your heroes because, you don't want to have that image ruined of like, you have them up on that pedestal and then you meet them and they're like a complete asshole. But then you meet them like you did with Steiner there. And it's like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah. I in my head was thinking like, I've heard so many, like after I accepted it, I immediately was like, "Oh, this is going to be so great. Wait, I've heard stories. Oh no." So I immediately was like, working, at the time, like it was getting weeks before the show. I was like, maybe I should just pull out of this. Maybe I should. But then something just told me, I was like, "Don't do this." I'm gonna regret it later. And that's kind of been my motto lately. A lot of things have been my motto. Actually, if you don't listen to the song NF motto, that's kind of my whole aura, my whole presence at the moment. So, when we got there, Steiner arrived, and yeah, he was. I was waiting for him to be all freaked out and everything and yell at me, but he was like, "Hey, we're working tonight. Okay, cool. Come meet me in the back later in 5 minutes." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm holding my hands like this and just making sure. And then next thing you know, I go in the locker room. I was like, "Well, sir, it's an honor to meet you. Is there anything you need me to do for you? Get you anything?" And he's like, "Hi, good man. Listen, we're going to do this tonight. I'm going to give you a T-bone here. I'm going to give you a belly to belly right here. I'll probably beat you up with some chairs or whatever." I was like, "Okay, cool. No problem." So I went out, did my little shtick, got on the microphone, and issued an open challenge saying I'm going to be a future world champion, maybe even a future Hall of Famer. So who has the cojones to fight me, whatever. And then you hear that iconic siren. Scott Steiner walks out. And the match was, and the match was what it was. It was great. Actually, there was when he had me on the outside, he had the chair, but he couldn't close it for whatever reason because I don't know. I'm not going to say. Maybe the chair just wasn't working with him that night, so he had the chair wide open, not closed to hit me with. So he hits me over the back. Thankfully, it was plastic because I think if it was metal, I probably would have been knocked out for a loop on that end. But either way, no, I was happy that I got that approval from him, and I helped him out. I did what I needed to do, so I was proud of that. So
that is awesome. I know. I haven't got to meet too many of my idols. You bring up AJ Styles. I did get to meet him and actually got a TNA Lockdown.
I'm so jealous right now.
I got one of the TNA Lockdown pay-per-view DVD covers signed by him.
Oh, yeah? The one from 2005 when I'm jumping off the cage to Abyss or whatever? Or was that...
You know what? Let me see if I get my hands on it here. I need to get these reframed here, but 2007.
Oh wow! Okay, so that must have been the time. Yep. Okay, that was ironically Scott Steiner's on there. One was Sting, Christy. That was the Lethal Lockdown match.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember which one. It was I think all the TNA guys were going to war with. It was Angle and Jarrett. Angle and Jarrett.
Yeah, Angle.
Yeah. And it was them against Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, Angle and Christian. Yeah, Jarrett was in there, but yeah.
Yeah, Jarrett was on Angle's team, which was in hindsight again.
Yeah, in hindsight, kind of weird.
A lot of hindsights on this podcast episode that you're having, sir. So I don't know what it is.
And then, I was just looking through.
Oh, no.
First ECW One Night Stand signed by Jericho and Stevie Richards.
That's so freaking awesome. Oh, Richards, that's another one of my favorite wrestlers, actually, believe it or not. I'm a Stevie Richards fan. I actually listened to his podcast, actually. His workouts have if you want to get into DDP yoga, he has a free YouTube pre-trial course one on his channel. Okay. If you actually look it up, I actually followed that, and that's what kind of got me started on my fitness journey to getting back. Because I used to weigh 250, so
I'm a little bit more than that right now, but whatever. Anyways,
stop. You look great.
One of my favorites. We're talking about some favorites, guys. Before we go into this last match that I want to talk about.
Okay.
It is one guy that I swear I haven't got to meet yet, and I don't get starstruck too often, but if I ever do meet this guy, I swear I won't be able to get a word out. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow.
I swear to God, if I ever actually get to meet him, I'm probably just going to, for people that actually get to watch the YouTube version of this, I'll just be like, hi.
Well, that's your hero. Everyone's gonna get starstruck from that, I was very hard. It was hard for me to go and talk to Billy Gunn actually at one point in time because I was so enamored by the dude and by the guy, and I grew up idolizing him as well. Where do you think the SMA came from? Since he's the ass man, of course, obviously I had to be the Mr. You know what ass. So
now, daddy ass. I swear, you have to be somebody special to be able to get something like that as over as it is.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And we're in 2023 right now, and he's still like in great shape. Like,
God, yeah.
He's in a lot better shape than most people my age right now. Like, I'm trying to do a fitness journey, but like I see guys that are in this business, and it's like, oh man, what the hell?
Oh yeah.
So, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, it's all good. Now, I figured this last match was going to be kind of a good segue into some stuff we were talking about before we started recording.
Okay.
Now, your match was Swoggle.
Yes.
Swoggle,
a little bastard.
Okay. He's an entertaining character right there. And I love watching him in some of you see him with the Major Wrestling Figure podcast guys, with Ethan Page and his toy hunts and stuff. What was it like getting in the ring with the one they know as Swoggle?
Swoggle was really cool. Like I heard he's kind of a big mouth, to say the least, but I didn't get that either. Again, I talked to him, and he was one of the coolest people I ever got to work with. And that match alone was like one of the funniest and most entertaining matches I ever got to be a part of. I know we actually have, and I know my assistant isn't in the room at the moment, but we had at the time Cardboard Pam involved in our finish. So the whole deal was like she was kind of my eye candy, my go-to girl, whatever. And basically, like I was gonna set her up in the corner, and I was gonna actually grab Swoggle to go and try to snatch him and throw him into her. But he ended up sneaking right underneath her, and like next thing you know, the cardboard is like damaged. It's already gone through like hell as is, so her face is just kind of hanging down like this in the corner. So Swoggle goes underneath me, and he sees Pam, and next thing you know, that happened on the fly. We talked about that, but that actually her being hung down like this. Swoggle brings her face up, and next thing you know, he's like doing a little hip swivel and whatever. Next thing you know, he plants a good old kiss right onto my babe. So, but you know what? In hindsight and all that, that was one of the most funnest matches I've ever got to be a part of, and it really showed a testament to like I could work with anybody. Because originally, I don't know why, like I felt like I was against the idea actually, just because like I felt like I don't think this is for me, just getting that vibe of like, but then again, like if I don't do this, I'm gonna regret it later. So I basically said to myself, all right, I'll do it. And then most entertaining match of the night, hands down. Actually, top 3, and I get to showcase that to everybody. So I didn't think like me having to jump up in the air to like hit him with the rear view was gonna be something that would catch eyes, but it does. So
No, that's freaking awesome. Now, I talked a little bit about some of the, with him and the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, with Ethan Page and the toy hunts. We talked about before we started recording how this weekend, as of recording this weekend, I will be going to Comic Con, technically Council Bus, but that's another story. But, I mentioned growing up, my 2 things were pro wrestling and Ninja Turtles. And they got 2 people from the Ninja Turtles going to be there. And I got my little Ninja Turtle collection going up around here. I got a couple things I'm going to get signed there. I'm rather proud of this. My wife got me this shelving unit as part of my birthday present. So I'm finally getting to display some of my stuff.
That's freaking awesome.
Like I mentioned, some of the autographs I got lining up, which the ones that I got signed at Revolver, I have Swerve, Keith Lee, Ty Valkyrie, Johnny TV, Johnny Nitro, whatever the hell you want to call him. Rich Swann. I'm going to need to stand up here.
Oh, that's my buddy.
Kushida, Lance Archer, Hangman Adam Page, and one other one that I'm excited about that I actually going to meet at that Comic-Con, Rikishi.
What? Rikishi? Oh, shoot. I love Rikishi.
He's going to be there. I actually, up there right now, not signed, but it will be as of Saturday, his head shrinkers persona. Fatu.
Fatu. Ah, yes. They just recently released the head shrinkers.
But I only got Fatu right now. Now, I'm excited because that persona of his is particularly meaningful for me because my first ever, not just WWE show, my first ever pro wrestling show in general, one of the matches was the Head Shrinkers versus Owen Hart and Coco Beware.
Oh, when they were high energy back in the day, right?
Yep.
I know what you're talking about. Believe it or not, I had an old Raw 93 DVD, and it had Fatu wrestling Bret the Hitman Hart, actually, on one of those episodes. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of ironic, actually. That's really cool that you actually that was your first pro wrestling match, like introduction to it. That's freaking awesome.
First ever one, and I actually ended up that night getting to see two different members of the NOI family wrestle. I got to see Yokozuna versus Big Boss Man, and I was a little third grader at the time, and Big Boss Man was one of my absolute favorites. And my dad got floor seats, and we were like right by the entrance, and like I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I'm this little third grader, and here comes Yokozuna walking by me, and I'm like my jaw on the floor, like holy shit!
Oh wow, that is amazing. Yeah, I watched. Did you watch the Yokozuna documentary on WWE on Peacock?
Yes, that was a good one.
That was really inspired. That was really amazing. Like I was blown away at how Sergeant Slaughter came up with the Yokozuna character, and how he basically, when he was first starting out, he was just Coquina. He didn't really have something that stood out or anything. So like for Sergeant Slaughter to actually help him out and carry him to and be a WWF champion at that time, that's really awesome. I've gotten to meet. So you said you got to see Yokozuna. I actually am close with Alpha Pops for WXW, actually. Nice. Work through his promotion. I'm actually currently his Cruiserweight champion still to this day. So
awesome. I saw that on the list that you gave me of people, and I'm like, man, that would be somebody I would love to talk to, because I've actually had another member of the NOI family, Lloyd, on. That his episode.
Oh, I love Lloyd. That's my buddy. I love Lloyd.
His episode, as of recording this, is actually coming out tomorrow.
Oh wow! So fans, if you get to tune into that, I'm sure he's a great. I definitely know he's a great mind for the business. So definitely, he's an earful to listen to. For sure.
Most definitely.
I know my trainer actually is married to Vale on Hawaii. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, and I'm very close with Vale for sure, and my trainer as well, Vertigo, the Kira Rivero. He's definitely someone I think you should. He has years and years of knowledge in the business. I think he's somebody that we've had some good matches too. I mean, there were times where he would do stuff to my man cave over here, if you will. If you get a chance to interview him, he'll tell you what I'm talking about. He'll let you know that. So
that would be awesome. I would love that opportunity, and getting to meet another member of that family this Saturday is going to be pretty awesome. Like I'm really looking forward to that.
I can only imagine, like, meeting Rikishi. That's somebody that was in the Ruthless Aggression era at that time, too, believe it or not.
Yes.
Which, ironically, Grandmaster Sexay was doing, like, Sunday Night Heat, and he was on Raw, but, like, Scotty and Rikishi were on SmackDown. They didn't think at the time that they would put Too Cool, like, as a trio again. You would think that, right?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
And you know what? I actually 8x10. I actually was just looking at this. Got it signed. Scotty 2
Ah,
Hottie.
Scotty. Nice. Very, very nice. That's
I'm-
another one of my.
He's a good one. It was nice dude. They actually did that dance that Too Cool would do at the end of the matches. It was something else.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Now I see, speaking of not just my collections, I'm seeing a figure there in the background. I see you got your wrestling buddy.
Oh, you mean this one right here? You mean the wrestling doll, the Jerry Show Slam buddies that are now officially back? It took me like months to get them back, by the way. But yeah, they are actually on sale right now. They are going for $30, but here's a catch: if you pre-order right now and you want to help your old buddy Jerry Swirlz out, like this little fellow right here, you can take $5, maybe even $6 off of your purchase. So that $30 could be $25, maybe even $24. You never know. But this guy right here, that's a good deal, honestly. So
I can, and you know what? I can add him to my collection because I need to move my chair back here because I got one sent to me by the one, the only John Wayne Murdoch.
What? I love John Wayne Murdoch. That's dang. So, are we making a business deal right now? Is that what I'm hearing? Are we making a business deal?
We very well could be. We very well could be.
Okay, we'll talk more about it after the podcast. So,
yeah, we'll do that. But I'm seeing
but
another figure back there. I'm seeing a couple of them actually.
Here's this one right here. This is actually a joke, believe it or not, but my dad. This is after I outgrew like collecting action figures and stuff. So he got me an Sheamus doll. That's kind of a joke, but Sheamus is actually one of my favorite wrestlers now, a lot more now than he was back in the day. Not saying that Sheamus wasn't a great wrestler. It was just like, where he was in his career, like
at the time,
At the time, it was kind of plateau, if I'm going to say so. Like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but now with where he's at and doing with the Brawling Brutes and stuff, I think it's one of the best things that's happened in his career. His feud with Drew McIntyre, fantastic. His match with Gunther at Clash of the Castle. WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Gunther. That hands down. I watched that. That was one of the best Intercontinental title matches in a very long time. WrestleMania, nonetheless. Like it's not to me. It's not above Steamboat and Savage, but it's it's right under there with oh god, I was just thinking about this one.
Are we talking about just WrestleMania Intercontinental matches? Or
just just WrestleMania in general, like because the Intercontinental title was kind of like here or there. Like I remember it being on the pre-show one time. The pre-show with Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose. Like I was at that WrestleMania live, and I was like thinking to myself, wait, because I was getting concessions, and like I heard Dean Ambrose's music or John Moxley's John Moxley, but Dean Ambrose at the time. I heard his music play, and I was like, the Intercontinental title on the pre-show? What? I was upset by it, but like you got to think, like it was in like 2 different ladder matches that year. WrestleMania 32, 31, like those ladder matches. I would say that triple threat match is kind of no, I can't even say that either. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to really remember, like, all the Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. But even then, that's a ladder match. That's up there for sure.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think of, like, other... Because the Intercontinental title is just, like, that's one of my favorite titles, besides the television title.
For the longest time, it was that workhorse title, but then it kind of got shoved into the background there. And now Gunther's really starting to kind of bring it back into the forefront.
How do you feel about the U.S. title scene? How do you feel about that? What's your opinion on it? Because I've heard different things.
I don't know. I know they wanted big things for Austin Theory, but it's going back the way that I just mentioned with the Intercontinental title, with the way it used to be, where it's kind of just there in the background.
Right. It's just like hey, this is here still. So I don't know. I've been different on it. I think that I think it has a lot of. Oh my
Whoa,
gosh!
there we go.
And that's that, and that's what happens. And this is what, and that's poetic karma right there, telling me do not talk about that U.S. title. Don't disgrace that U.S. Do not disgrace that title. Oh my gosh.
It's
Anyway,
happened. It's happened to me a bunch. I know. Before I got this set up, I've had times where I've had to watch out for cats or dogs, and all of a sudden it just fell over. I'm like, well, shit.
Technical malfunction, ladies and gentlemen. But no, the U.S. title, it's there for a reason. As I'm going to grab this right here. But no, no, the U.S. title, it's got history. It's got roots. It's just give it time. Give it time.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I do have one more thing I definitely want to show off here.
Oh, yes.
This is actually near and dear to my heart. As I told you, who one of my favorite wrestlers is. This was the very first Adrenaline pack with Billy Gunn and Tori Wilson.
Okay, so that's a sweet looking one.
This was I believe when Billy Gunn just came back, and he was hanging around with Tori Wilson at that time and had that feud with Jamie Noble. So I was very, very heavy as a Billy Gunn fan, and that's the reason why. So
hey, nothing wrong with that. Now,
amen.
You mentioned, being from in injury right now, and there's quite a few out there that have had these injuries. How's that recovery going for you?
It's going a lot better than I would have expected. I mean, I know I was originally cleared, but unfortunately, I was in a car accident and I got rear-ended. That literally, I think, a week before the show was going to happen. So I had to pull out, and my doctor told me, you got to sit out the rest of the year. So, but recovery's been a lot better. Recovery has been great. I don't need surgery, thankfully. I'm actually blessed about that. But having this time away, and when my injury did happen, I was always big on being an Iron Man, on keep going, just tough it out and stuff like that. But this is when I wasn't when I was always on the go on stuff, and I was just drinking Celsius energy drinks every day, almost every day, at least 2 to 3. Then drinking coffee, drink water, just all this other stuff, and just try to fill as much food up as I could. And I was in good shape. I was in pretty good shape, to say the least. I mean, I'm not saying I'm in bad shape right now. I'm actually trying to just build up a little bit more and just build the muscle back up in my neck. But it sucked. Yeah. It definitely sucked when it happened. But the more as time goes by and everything, I'm kind of happy it did. As weird as that sounds, it kind of made me take a step back, because when you're on, being on the road all the time, away from your friends and family, doing indie shows or whatever, it gets hard, especially when you have another job that you got to maintain, when you have life that gets in the way and stuff like that. That kind of sitting at home, having to do other stuff to support outside of wrestling, has been really rewarding, and also kind of reassured me. I built a better connection up with my family. My grandfather, I have a great connection with him now, with him and his girlfriend, of course. I'm building a good relationship with my aunt, who was one of the few supporters that actually supported me wrestling at that time. Actually, when I was first starting out on my journey, I didn't have much money in my pocket. So I asked my aunt if, could I she found me working at a Publix, and she came through and recognized me. I didn't recognize who she was on my side of the family. And long story short, he knew what I was going through, and she knew what my dream was. So she offered me a roof over my head and told me I could come live with her for free and just take care of the house and do what you can. So sorry, that's a little tender moment. I didn't mean to I didn't mean to get somber on you right there. I just
no. Hey, it's always good to hear stories of when people, they have those times. I know I've had my own, different struggles with bad situations, and having those stories of those people that ended up, being there for you when you really needed them. Always good to hear stories like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I did recently hit a rough spot in my life, but I thankfully was able to reach out. I can safely say that I have a really, really good support system. So it's nice
good.
to have that. I actually might be writing a book soon, so maybe we'll see. I've got ideas. I've got ideas. I just I'm talking with a publisher right now. Actually, it's in the not totally in the works because me being a procrastinator and typing and schoolwork, of course. But no, I've got plans to actually. I'm thinking about writing a book soon about everything that happened in my life. So we'll see.
I'll look forward to hearing about that. Now,
oh boy.
I have two categories that I like to kind of round stuff off with. One's a bit of a name game where I try to theme it towards the guest as much as possible. And you know what? With some of our conversations over Facebook Messenger, yours came quite easily because you gave me quite the list of people. I chose a handful of them, and you hear their name, you give me your first thoughts on them.
Okay, let's do it.
First one, a personal favorite of mine, Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, he was awesome. Tommy was really, really amazing. Actually got to referee for his match when he first came to Atomic, actually. And I remember, like, the match he had was against Jesse Neal, and it was for the Atomic World Championship. So, and they beat the hell out of each other. But Tommy, I remember picking him up at the airport. He was nothing but cool, nothing but a humble guy, pretty reserved. Long story short, though, when I refereed the match, this was still when I was like kind of newish. I was green and I didn't know any better. He kind of told me like, hey, you need to do a better job and let me know when there's a hard camera at and this, that, the other. He would just give me little pointers to let me know on what's good on that stuff. And he, I picked him up at the airport and we had a great conversation with that ahead of time. Just told me his story. I was talking to him, asking for his advice and stuff. And like at the end of the night, I took him to his hotel and he actually compensated me. He actually gave me like some gas money to take care of me and stuff. So I was very, very grateful of him. So I was very antsy with talking with him at the time because like he's the innovator of violence and I don't know what he's going to do. So, but he was such a gentle giant. I actually recently caught up with him at Impact Wrestling because I got to do Impact Wrestling extra work. So I actually got to see him. Actually, there was a family that that wanted to meet Tommy, and like Tommy took time out of the locker room because he's one of the writers over there, and he actually took time to go outside and sign an autograph and take a picture with that family. So that's really, really amazing.
That is awesome. That's definitely awesome. And you know what? Now that I think about this, I have actually, each person on this list, I have actually met at one point or another. So I was just realizing that. Didn't realize it when I was putting the notes together. But next one up on the list, another person I got to meet at Warrior Wrestling in St. Louis, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo.
Deonna. I love Deonna. She was actually at my school for a little bit, and she was showing us her style of wrestling. And it was really cool, really like someone that wanted to just teach and learn and give to somebody, like super nice. I got to catch up with her at Impact, and she's been killing it in the Impact. I know she recently lost the title to Trinity, but you know what? That match was a barn burner. That was a really, really good match. Like I feel like, it was the right time, I think, in my opinion, but maybe Trinity should have had a little bit more to like build to. I mean, then again, there was enough build to it, in my opinion. So who's to say? But other than that, Deonna, sweetheart, super awesome.
Totally. I got a poster for the event in St. Louis that was given to me that I got signed, and I believe she's on it. I'd have to do some digging, but she definitely signed it. Nicest person. Next person on the list was actually a surprise replacement during that Warrior Wrestling show in St. Louis, because I'm wanting to say it was Will Ospreay had that little medical issue. I don't remember what it was, so he had to pull out. But they brought in the Machine, Brian Cage.
Oh, Brian Cage. Really cool. Really cool. I kind of heard some stuff about him, like with the whole AEW thing and whatnot. Like I watched his interview on Chris Van Vliet, but I no, he was chill. He was very, very cool. Really, really cool.
Same.
Got to I got to talk with him for a little bit before our match, and like, yeah, he said I did a good job. So I basically got thrown around. Actually, like, there's one, there's a part of me where I give him I don't know what it is with me in rear views, but I gave him a rear view, like whatever, and he like just looked at me with like the deadest of eyes. So I was like, just warming up and ready to hit it, but hit the ropes again, and like I go to hit him, and next thing you know, he's just German suplexing me. German suplex, German suplex, German suplex, German suplex, German suplex. And then he gave me a power bomb and then an F5, and you know, the rest is kind of history right there. So yeah, Cage, you owe me one, Cage. You owe me one.
You know, you bring up some of the stuff with, you know, AEW right now. I am happy for him because he has seemed to, as of late, with the Ring of Honor and stuff, and being there with the embassy and the Mogul Embassy now, whatever the hell they're calling it.
The Mogul Embassy. Yeah.
Being a part of that and being a part of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag champs. I mean, hey, he seemed to be on a pretty happy run right there.
He's doing really good for himself, which I'm really happy for. You know, like, I know after the Ricky Starks thing with the FTW title, it kind of lost a lot of steam, but like, I'm happy for him. Definitely. Like that he's still going strong, and he's still doing what he needs to do to, you know, be the machine, but the whole swole effing machine that he is.
Oh, so, yeah.
But yeah, super cool, super cool guy.
Now, last but not least, I mentioned that I have got to meet each of these guys. This guy was at a local show, coincidentally, attached to the same hotel that I was put in the night before I left for Navy boot camp. Trevor Murdoch.
Ah, Trevor. I met him during the NWA World Title match. And he briefly talked to me, like when I got to referee for that night. Told me I did a good job, and yeah, he was super cool, super agile for his weight and everything that he can do. Like he's a tough redneck, tough SOB. Like I can't say nothing more or nothing less about the man. Like he's that dude. He's that guy. Oh, yeah. So
most definitely. Now I have some random questions. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. You just give me the first answer that pops into your head. Now, I have a little story on mine after you tell me yours, because you talked about Sheamus. But craziest in-match moment for you?
That's interesting. Craziest in-ring match moment. Let's see. Like, could it just be like define crazy, like something that was out of my hands, kind of crazy, or like
that a moment that just you look back on, you're like, holy crap, that was nuts.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think now. Believe it or not, okay, I'm gonna tell this story. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I worked a show in Tennessee, and I wrestled a local guy in Tennessee. It was at the Gypsy Joe Arena, I believe it was what it was called. And if you're familiar with Gypsy Joe, then you might know that story. But he's a journeyman wrestler, ran a school and whatnot. The crowd, and I'm the babyface too, mind you. Like the crowd was really, really tough. They were really hard to work with. And like I came out there, you know, my gold jacket, my trunks and my kick pads, like a gold paraphernalia, trying to get the crowd like, yeah, let's go, guys. Next thing you know, man, they turned their backs on me real quickly. They dropped some words that I don't even know if I could say on this podcast because I don't want to get you demonetized, sir. But let's just say they are still stuck in the times of how gay people were. So we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. All right?
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
But the guy that I wrestled was supposed to be the heel, the bad guy, and he goes out, but he gets a cheer. He gets a cheer out of this. So we're trying to do like the up and down, kind of whatever, try to get them behind us, whatever. I mean, I got like 2 grannies out of it. So, Golden Girls favorite over here, still running strong to this day, either way. But no, they cheered hard for him. And we already had like the whole match planned out and everything. Like the finish was already set in stone and he was already going to go over, but we had to change the whole matchup in his favor. So I'm just like, in my own head, like, holy shit. We got to switch. And so like we did the up and down one more time thing. And it was like, we got down and the ref was about to ring the bell. I looked up, I told the ref, I was like, hey, tell him we're going to switch it up. And we did. We switched it. So I was the one trying to run off the energy of the boos, and he got the sympathetic cheers out of it all. So, because he wrestled that night, and B, he's one of their local guys. So, I was able to work around that. But now that we're talking about more, there's one more crazy moment. And this one was really cool. It was an I Quit match against someone you actually interviewed on here, Jason Dugan.
Ooh, yeah. His episode is coming out next week.
Okay. Yeah, he and I right now we're tickling some feathers with the Atomic Legacy Wrestling Management team, but we're working around it. We're working around it. But no, that match was, oh my gosh, that match was awesome. Like I had goosebumps. It was an I Quit match, and we were basically just beating the shit out of each other. And we went up into the stands of the bleachers of the stadium. Long story short, like all the crowd was just going nuts and ballistic. Like you could just hear like the energy in that room, even though there was like, I think like 200 people, which the stadium could have sat like at least thousands of people maybe. But as we're like doing this, like you just feel that energy and everything. I remember like we had like another match planned out, but we had to switch it up a little bit too on the fly. And long story short, we ended up going up in the bleachers because I suggested that idea because of I don't know if you watched UWF with Herb Abrams and you watched that documentary. Okay, yeah, so I got that idea from Mick Foley where like he wrestled up in the empty bleachers with someone, I forgot who. He's like, "What are you doing? Those seats are empty." And then Mick's like, "Who cares? It's Herb's show." And that's all I kept thinking in my head when I looked at the empty seat. That's all I kept thinking in my head. So, but no, he threw me off one of the stands, one of the higher raised ones where the nosebleeds are. Threw me off of that, and then threw me off another one. His manager tried to get involved or whatever, and I kind of ended up just punching him out. And like it was just that whole match was just crazy. So that's one of my better matches, hands down.
Oh, that definitely a crazy moment. I know I brought up, a moment that I got to witness that was actually one of my best friends who long story, introduced me to my wife, made him the best man at my wedding. He was in this promotion's version of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I'm on the other side of the ring, and I see him with a guy up in a move that reminds me of Sheamus's White Noise, legs up here, armed, and they had, I'll use this book as an example, ladder bridge between the guardrail and the ring apron. And he has him up in that move, and I see him look down at the ladder, and I'm like, no.
Oh, so you White Noise them right on the...
Jumps, ladder, folds.
So you basically did it through the ladder. Gotcha.
Yeah. It was my back hurts just talking about it.
I can imagine that hurting. I mean, shoot. I think one of the other crazier spots I've done. Oh man, this one sucked. I had to go through. No, literally, it's not one of my brightest moments, but I don't know if that's one of your questions or not. But it was a dog collar match, and I remember like that dog collar thing sucked. That thing was like, that thing was rough, and I ended up bleeding in that match. So, but we'll move on. We'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. A bit of somewhat of a non-wrestling related one. I mentioned some of my collection that I have displayed back here. I'm kind of proud of. I'm nowhere near Matt Cardona level on this, but
I think you're working your way though. If you get like a few more figures, if you get like the major bendies, and maybe if you get like some of the old school Hasbro LJN figures, if you have those,
I do want to get. I have some of the. You kind of brought up Hasbro there for a little bit. I want to get my hands on Bam Bam Bigelow and the Legion of Doom. Those ones.
Oh, snap.
I don't
Those
care
are good ones.
As you can see, I don't have many loose. Those three wouldn't care. Loose on card, just give them to me.
I might know a couple of people, like if you that I could reach out to, baby. If you want to discuss more business later on, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that thing later.
Bring that up. But
okay.
The question for you: any hobbies? I've seen some figures back there. Do you dabble a little bit in that?
Not as much, unless the figure meant something to me in my life. Like I have an Edge, I have a Chris Benoit, I have a Jericho, and some of these guys are from like the Ruthless Aggression eras, by the way.
Gotcha.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it real quickly, because this one might blow your mind. This one actually might. Give me just 1 second. Make sure.
Okay, no, by all means.
Give me just 1 second. Let me see if I have it here. Oh, look at that. Where is it? This is another one too, actually.
Yeah.
I can show you this one. Let's see. Where is it? Sorry, people. I normally don't do this on podcasts. I really don't.
It's all good, man. It is all good.
Where is it? Well, I was trying
I know
to
if I had to dig around on some of mine, it might take me a little bit. So I get it.
Yeah, right. All right. I guess I don't know what happened to it, but either way, it was gonna be a Hasbro Lex Luger actually from WCW. Ooh. But I found this little guy right here.
Okay.
Found hold on, where is he?
Raven. Oh, there we go. Raven.
Yeah, from TNA when he was doing the Marvel figure deal.
Okay.
So we'll put him right here on standby.
I have kind of partial to both of these because they were the first two ones that my wife gave me. But no, there we go. Camera on the ground again.
All right, I'm just gonna get rid of that thing. Oh, the Ultimate Edition Brock.
Yes, the two belts. She gave me that. I'm wanting to say Valentine's Day, and I'm like, those two. And I'll grab this other one here. Boom, Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. Whew. Yeah, that's quite a name.
Two mean something to me because first two ones that my wife ever gave me, so I'm definitely excited about those. And I'm proud of this one because it definitely has a story behind it. Because one of my friends had told me that this person was going to be doing a signing at a comic book shop here in town. And I was like, well, shit, why not? So I got a Funko Pop of his and got it signed by him. Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger.
I have. That's awesome. I actually have a funny story to tell you about the Green Ranger. So I got to go to MegaCon. I dabbled with doing volunteer work. My friend got to work for them. Long story short, Stephen Amell was there. The cast from Boy Meets World was there. It was great. It was awesome. Nice. I got to see Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, was on that show, and I was like dying to meet him. Like every part of me in my childhood was just like, please let me get to say hi to him. And like, I was trying, I was right behind the line, and I seen him right there, and I was like trying to get his attention. I'm like, Green Ranger, like he did like during like the blooper reel with like everybody on set before the Power Ranger show aired or whatever. And he looked at me, and then he looked right back, and then he looked at me, and then he looked right back again. And then I guess he nonchalantly, like during that time, had one of the security guards come up and was like, hey, he's not doing any more autographs or interviews right now. So if you could kindly please leave. I was like, oh, what? So I walked away. I was sad and I was hurt. I mean, my friend at the all right, so little backstory. We showed up late to get there, my friend and I, and it was at the Orlando Conference Center, or the Orange Conference Center is what it was called. And there's an East Wing and the West Wing. The East Wing is where you need to go get inside the entrance, and you need to go sign in and make sure that you're on time and whatnot. We got there like 5 minutes late or whatever. But the West Wing, that's like the farther one, so you have to like make like a whole like mile and a half to like just get over there. I dropped my friend off at the West Wing, and I parked over where the East Wing was. So, but I don't know how he did it, but he got there before me, signed in. He wanted to meet Stephen Amell because that was his best friend. That was his idol growing up or whatever. And my friend actually, they told him, hey, that booth is actually filled up. We need you to go do this. So they punished him because he really wanted that booth really bad. But I signed in. They told me, hey, we need somebody over by Stephen Amell, Superman, and the Goonies booth. And like, I was kind of just in between them. So I ended up being right by them. And my friend was like, you son of a, you sold me out. And then I felt bad. So I bought a $90 photo op booth for Stephen Amell for my friend. So that's how good of a friend, that's how good of a person I am.
Yeah. My story ended up getting a little emotional because when I met him, it was literally just maybe a month and a half, 2 months before he killed himself.
Oh, wow.
And when I got the news, I'm like, holy shit, I just met the guy.
That's a blessing that you got to. That's really a blessing, seriously.
Yeah, so this little thing here, even more treasured now.
Oh, you better hold on to that for dear life, because that people will want to get their hands on that in a heartbeat.
It's sticking with me until I'm dead.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And like, I could say that funny story all I want, but like, I grew up watching him. I can never hate the guy for doing what he did. Like, that's still that's got to be special to you. Seriously, that's awesome
totally
that he did that for you. But anyway,
no, definitely. Now, I would feel weird if I didn't have this question on here, but I do like to say that just because the name of the show says Drinkin' and Mo's doesn't mean that drink needs to be alcoholic. But I have this, because I've had people on that don't drink or they're going through a recovery. So I'm like, hey, I want to be respectful of it.
Absolutely.
But favorite drink, whether alcoholic, non, or one of each.
All right, one of each. So my main drink of all time, non-alcoholic, is Celsius energy drinks. Like, I can drink those pretty much give me 2, 3. 4 is kind of pushing it, and if I'm drinking 5, please get it away from me as soon as possible because I might be having a bad day. No, but Celsius, the tropical vibe, the fantasy vibe, the oasis vibe, the wild berry, and the cola are my top 5. Like, hands down, those are my favorite drinks. Love definitely. A good Celsius. The beer. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead with beer. No, I was going to say non-alcoholic for me. My wife jokes that, well, she might be somewhat serious about this, saying I have a Dr. Pepper problem. I actually joked about this the other week. I told her, I don't have a problem. I have it figured out. The only time I have a problem is if I don't have any.
Yeah, that's how it is with me with Celsius. Like, I feel like, and I haven't had one all day too, which is actually kind of scary in hindsight. So I'm surprised I'm actually keeping my composure on this podcast. So yeah, no, it's not that you can't live without the drink. It's like, if you don't get it and you don't have that feeling, especially when that can cracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but alcoholic beverage, believe it or not, and this is a little nod to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast boys. I'm a PBR guy. I like drinking PBR every once in a while.
Okay. I got nothing. Everybody has their own taste. I know me with PBR, we have a really weird relationship. If I drink it before I start drinking some of my other favorites, I'm fine. But if I drink it after, I don't even want to finish it. The one and only time I've not finished a beer was when I was at a wrestling show drinking my personal favorites, Kona Big Wave, and I was drinking a bunch of those. And a friend of mine, walked up, hands me a PBR, and I took like maybe even less than half of it, and I'm like, no.
What?
The one and only time that I've done that.
That's crazy. Wow. The one time you drinking at Moe's was when there was not going to be a drink for Moe at all. Moe does not want that drink specifically.
In my defense, I drank plenty of other stuff before that one.
Right. I gotcha. Yeah. Actually, it's better. I guess everybody has a certain taste in
everybody
their beer,
has
so yeah. They do.
Bitter.
How are you on? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're
okay. All right. I'm a generous man. It's a Southern hospitality kind of thing I have. How are you on Budweiser, on Bud Light?
The way that I find it funny is other people complain about it, but then they go and they say they want to drink other beers that coincidentally are owned by the same
company,
Anheuser-Busch, and it's like, do you really know what you're talking about here? But then I think, you know what? Heck with it. People want to do whatever. I don't get political on this show, but I always I remember joking with people about this. I'm like, I mean, there's better beers out there, but hey, if people don't want to drink it, more beer for me.
Hey, there you go. I like that. See, I don't drink alcohol anymore. I can't do it for the life of me. Like, I actually recently went through a bad breakup, and like, it was on the verge of being a problem for me. And it was like, long story short, I was in a relationship with someone. She broke up with me, and then my neck injury came at that time. So it was rough. It was really rough.
Yeah.
And I remember just drinking a 6-pack of beer almost twice a night, something like that. And it was like, my friend pointed it out to me, and like, I was just I was a slob about it. Like, he noticed, like, when he was wondering, like, what's going on with you, dude? Like, what's going on? And he found the 4 cases of beer that were right there. So it's like, I had to buckle down, and like, I realized to myself, like, oh shit, like, I'm letting all this affect me right now. Like, I can't let it. And I hit the gym. I try to do as much more weights as I possibly can right now. Actually, today, after I get off this podcast, I'm actually going to go over there in a little bit and get my workout in. Today's a leg day, or I try not to mix body parts anymore, because I don't know if you remember from ECW, the Pit Bulls.
Yes.
Yes, I trained with Gary Wolf. I did a seminar for his recently, just to get myself like in ring shape and everything. And he told me, like, this is a good workout regimen for someone that's having like difficulties with necks and stuff like that. So he told me, do this body part day. Monday could be your chest day. Tuesday can be your back day. Wednesday can be your leg day. Thursday can be your rest day. But try to get in push-ups, sit-ups, and squats as many as you can. Like 100 a day is what you need to get in. And that's what I've been doing. Like, I've been trying to bulk up a little bit on it, try to get my swirly swirl on, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, it's all good. It's good that, you're getting back in there. You're getting,
It's going to be by the end of the year. It'll be by the end of the year that I'll be cleared. But awesome. Right now, I'm enjoying life, man. I'm just enjoying life.
That's the best thing there. Now, I do enjoy this next question, and I kind of added a little bit to it recently. Favorite and least favorite food?
Ooh, good one. My favorite food, I cannot go wrong with a steak. Any kind of steak. T-bone, sirloin, prime rib, ribeye steak. even Salisbury steak. Give it to me, and I will eat that. On least favorite food, would have to be shrimp. Not a big shrimp fan. Shrimp tempura, that's fine because that's kind of not really shrimp per se, even though it's not really recommended I should eat it, of course. But so I was at a Christmas party when I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I remember like I was just eating shrimp like galore. Like it wasn't a problem for me before, and I was just eating it and eating it. But like some of it was kind of like a little brownish, like kind of undercooked kind of deal.
Ooh.
And I remember like I was just eating like skewers of it, like just like eating it like right off the skewer, as many as I can. I think it was like 3 or 5 or whatever. Like all night, I was wondering like, why does my stomach hurt? Why am I feeling this right now?
Oh
Like
boy.
it's almost
Yeah.
Christmas time. So later that night when I went to bed, next thing you know, I'm just hearing everything, and I'm just bleh, bleh,
Oh, yeah.
all in my bedroom, My dad was
Yeah.
like hearing me. We had to go to the hospital that night, so they told me like he cannot. I didn't want to eat shrimp ever again. Like I wasn't like allergic to it or anything. It's just like I can't do it anymore. I've been traumatized ever since because that was one of my favorite foods.
No, I can totally understand. You have that one bad experience with the food, and then you're like, no more.
Now there is one cheat meal, and I actually indulged on it today. One of my favorite cheat meals is fried chicken. Anything fried chicken, fried chicken. It's like the whole deal. Give me fried chicken, some French fries, maybe some greens, some good old cornbread, maybe if you want. And a biscuit too. So that's the Jerry Swirlz cheat meal that's the Jerry Swirlz cheat meal, hands down. So,
Okay, that's a good one. That is a good one.
cool.
I mean, you bring up steak. For my birthday last week, we actually went to this steakhouse that's pretty big up here, and I got my usual. I think it was like a 16-ounce ribeye, and I got it all. Oh man, it was freaking delicious. Steak good, cheeseburgers good, but if my wife gives me crap about this, when we go to, I love Italian food. When we go to an Italian restaurant, I'm always looking for the damn lasagna on the menu.
I love lasagna. Even though I don't eat it as much. But lasagna, you cannot go wrong with a good old lasagna.
Oh,
have you ever had meatball lasagna? You ever had meatball lasagna?
I don't think I have.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know it now that you're mentioning it. I think I need to have it.
It's a different kind of playing field. It's like deep dish pizza, but with the meat inside of the lasagna. So good.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting hungry for it. Least favorite.
Me too.
Least favorite for me. Boy, I'm getting just thinking about it. And my family loves it, but I tried it once and I just immediately like I just gagged like crazy. Deviled eggs.
What? Really?
I can't do it.
Wow, I'm a little surprised by that.
I can't do it.
I mean, I don't eat them as often, but like I have no issues with them. Like I was gonna say, like sometimes when I go to Publix and I see them, if because they're only a couple dollars, I'll get them like galore. And they have like their filling, the egg filling. They actually had a bacon flavored one at Publix recently, and I was like, oh man, I gotta try this one.
That sounds
really
tempting.
that surprises me actually. I've never heard anybody hate deviled eggs. That's kind of a surprise to me.
I can't do it. Like I think the last time I don't know if it was a texture thing with the egg in there, but I just had it in my mouth and I went to swallow and I was just wow. And like you with the shrimp, I swore it off after that. I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Can't do it anymore. Nope, throw it up. Then that's pretty much it. Well, now I'm afraid. I mean, like I could kind of see why people don't like them because I'm pretty sure people prefer their eggs scrambled or hard boiled.
Scrambled.
Some people scrambled up. Can't go wrong with scrambled eggs. Have you ever had egg whites?
I've had them. I haven't had them in a while. Just this.
This is a good one. Egg whites with breakfast steak.
Ooh.
or country fried steak. Super,
Okay.
super good. Yes. With a little bit of Salisbury with A1 sauce on that, and
Ooh.
it's heaven in your mouth. Legit.
That sounds tasty. I know me with scrambled eggs, you know what, to be honest, I didn't really like eggs in general until the Navy, where it was one of the few things that they couldn't fuck up.
Really?
The scrambled
Yeah,
eggs. And they'd have all sorts of mix-ins. They'd sometimes have little chopped up bits of bacon and jalapenos and stuff that they'd mix in there. And I just like, okay, I could do this.
Hell yeah.
Now, last but not least, for the random questions here, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
Have good cardio. That's one of the biggest ones. If you know that what this business is and you've seen what it's about and what we put our bodies on the line, like majority of the stuff, people calling it the word fake being used around in our industry, I think it's kind of dead to say that wrestling's fake. You know, that slogan is dead in my opinion. Now we are in an industry where anybody can get into it, but have a realistic mindset, have good cardio, whatever that mindset may be, whether that's a referee, whether that be like behind the scenes and stuff like that, because there's a lot of running involved. Have good cardio to do this. And like, don't be afraid to express yourself is another big thing too. Like I see guys like that are just black and white. You know, they're this person or that person. No one ever tackles the gray in the wrestling industry. No one ever wants to like be that middle person, because that's what I've always wanted to be. Like I've always wanted to stick out. I've always wanted to be somebody different, and and now even learning about it even more, like I've learned that being in the role as a general manager, that I can still do the things that I want to do. And I even had this conversation with my aunt. Like I've started to realize like, it's not that this feels bad. It feels different. It's still the same Jerry Swirlz. It's still the same Golden God, the same Golden Girls favorite that everybody remembers and loves. But it's just more remembering what people remembered me for in the beginning. And that was just being a tremendously over the top character and still having a more presence about it. It feels different. And I guess I've just had a hard time kind of adjusting to it. But like, don't ever let that get taken out of your context of whatever you're involved in. Like I said, as referee, manager, ring announcer, whatever it may be, color commentator, even, like, don't let circumstances try to hold you back, or more or less don't let them define you, because you're never going to know. That was actually an old quote. I was trying to avoid by saying that for my buddy Rex Backus, who, went on to, but anyway, that's my advice.
Very, very good advice. Now, before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on Jerry Swirlz, they can go ahead and get them there.
My favorite part of the show, as I like to say on these interviews, if you have not followed the Golden God, if you have not jumped on the Golden Hour, if you have not followed me, check me out. I'm on Instagram at Jerry_Swirlz98. I'm on Facebook, Jerry Swirlz. I don't have a Twitter anymore. Sorry. I deleted my Twitter because I was so pointless with everything. Screw Elon Musk.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm on Threads now. I'm on Threads. I am on Threads at Jerry_Swirlz98. I also have a YouTube channel, Jerry Swirlz World. You can find all my videos, my matches that this fine gentleman has been able to see. I have been on, what else have I been on? What else do I have? What else do I got? Hey, you want to cash at me at Jerry Swirlz? I like money. Throw me some love. I've also got, let's see, I said Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Atomic Golden Hour. I actually run that page. It's my own little show where basically we break down everything that's going on in ALW. We break down the Instagram portion, which is basically anything could happen during that first hour. Like, it's unpredictable. It's uncanny. You never know what you're going to see. And I'll probably send you some clips. And on the YouTube portion, we break down everything. I've actually got some stuff in the works right now. We got our fan of the week. We have our legacy star of the hour. We also have my dog Onyx, who runs the weather every once in a while. So we always get good weather reports from Onyx. My good half breed. I have a half breed dog, so he's a good boy. He does well with the weather if it's right to poop. Let's see. And if you also want to get a chance to, I know right now, actually, if it's about that time already. Oh, yeah, 30 minutes in. If you want to go check out ALW on Fight TV every Thursday night, ALW Revolt is airing right now. As a matter of fact, I think Jason Nugent is wrestling a certain Moose on that show for the ALW World Championship. And we also have a triple threat match with some of our upcoming guys as well on that show. So check out ALW Revolt every Thursday night on Fight TV. Our upcoming show, ALW's We Wear the Crown, is going to be at the Level 13 Center in Orlando, Florida. I'm going to be in some capacity a part of the already enamorous and well-deserved Love Alive charity event for Duval or Star Spangled Slammers, what it was called. I don't remember. Sorry, Pope. But it's the Love Alive charity is running an event and is run by the Pope Elijah Burke. $1 makes a difference. So if you want to go check out that show, you can check it out on their page at Love-Alive charity.
Definitely. We'll get all of that in the description. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. It's been fun, and you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Check out Drinkin at Mo's. He's one of the best and one of the best podcasters I've actually gotten to be on, so definitely check him out.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.